Welcome to the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor podcast. No shade, just sunshine. Drama-free, positive vibes only. This is the Fort Myers Beach Chamber ROXIE series, where we share local information, meet the people who make this island special, and shine some sun on the businesses that keep our island glowing. Here's your host, Cabo Jim Schaller.
So this is our headquarters. This is Steve Tinklepaw, who's actually our sales representative for the Fort Myers Beach and the coastal regions of Fort Myers and Lee County. And he's going to be joining us as well. So this is where we do the majority of all of the operational work for the company. We do our fulfillment prep, sales, all of the technical support, IT, all the stuff that happens in here. My office and everything else is here. Currently, we are at 82 employees. And so we cover a large area and we have different people dedicated to different areas. But our local market and our local workforce that deals with that market is about 25 people strong. So
also one thing that makes us different is all of our installers, electricians, measure people are all employees. We don't subcontract anything out to anybody else. We do have an electrician qualified us to do our own electrical work, which saves on time as far as the installation themselves. But just that we like to keep everything as much as possible in-house.
absolutely. Thank you. So we're going to walk outside. We did wait until the workday was done so we could avoid any kind of liability issues. You'll see the little roof here is actually a hurricane. So around here, you'll actually see products that are currently in development like this. So we use just about every available wall space to come up with new ideas, implementations. This is a product that we're working on right now, and hopefully it's going to be ready for the latter half of the hurricane season. This is a self-tensioning hurricane screen product that's going to look very nice and tight, but still be the polypropylene fabric and be very cost effective. So that's what we think is going to help separate us in the market. This is our conference room, but also our classroom. Every quarter, we do something called AHT Academy, where we bring people from all over the United States here to learn about hurricane protection, how to install it, how to build it, and how to do support for it. And so our dealers and customers will come here and visit us, and we'll also host webinars so that they can learn a little bit more about the product.
Also displays for our windows.
That's right. So these are the ES windows that we sell. We've got a front door, single hung, prestige slider, and then this is a storefront. You'll notice we have extraordinarily tall ceilings here. So this is a 35-foot eaves. Again, we built the building so tall so that we could have two things. We wanted a lot of vertical space to store material, but we also wanted to have a separate location upstairs so that we could build our screens without getting any kind of metal shavings in there. And that's a key when you have a company that's making both aluminum products and screen products. Those metal shavings are a disaster. And so a physical separation became important for us. But as we move through here, you see we designed and built our own carts. These carts are actually part of the lean manufacturing strategy that we use. I took my operations manager, Jamie Dominguez, to Japan, and we spent 2 weeks there learning about the whole Kaizen approach, Kanbans, and ultimately how to manage a factory in a more kind of Japanese-like way. And so we've started to implement that here. Now, the discipline of our employees and that we find here in Southwest Florida is a little different than what you're going to find in Japan. But that said, we took some very valuable lessons, and ultimately we improved both our workflow and our productivity. And so this is what you'll see as you go around. Everything is now staged here so that people don't have to actually carry anything on their shoulders. Also, it keeps jobs together, and it gives them a place to be stored that isn't necessarily static. Every station that we build stuff at is going to have a quality sheet. And so this quality sheet is for the last product that was being built there for this company called WD Aluminum. These are all the shutters that this table went through today for Guardian, KR Construction, Florida Harbor, and Wilson. And at every step, this gentleman had to fill this out. What's the product type? What's the date? What number is it, the color, the length, and then the total number of slats. When this gets certified, then their foreman is going to sign here at the end to say that I approve that this is what was done correctly, and this goes into a file. If any of these comes back with any kind of quality issues, this file gets reopened and that employee gets a citation. 3 citations and they're done. So it's important. We also track everything via codes. And so you'll see this. This has the name of the customer, the name of the job, and then the details about that job along with the barcode. And so this is what prevents things from getting lost while they're here. This is what a completed roll shutter will look like. So this is just that roll. So we're taking it from this, putting side locks and screws, ultimately cutting it to the correct size and putting it together. And so every product that we build that's like that is going to look like this at some point. And then we'll deliver these to the job site. So this company, KR Construction, I believe they are in Mexico. They actually order these from us. We're going to put it into a container and then we're going to send it down to them. Then they're going to open up that container and everything's already ready to go. We call these shutters ready to install. So you're going to have your tracks cut to size, pre-perforated, ready to go on a wall. You're going to have your roll cut to size with everything on it, ready to be dropped into those tracks. And then we're going to see the box as well. And that box has the motor, everything that they just need to connect to power, and it's ready to lift. This section, these 2 sections here are for build out and for tracks. And so it's a very manual station. We do have two machines, an automated punch and a 5-headed drill press. That 5-headed drill press is good for some of the lighter gauge aluminum. So when we see it in operation, it's actually chugging along. You'll see it move forward in steps. 6 heads come down, move forward in steps, 6 heads come down. One of the cool things about that is that it does save a tremendous amount of time, but also it makes it very, very uniform, because the way we used to do it would be just marking them with a ruler and then going down. And we still have to do that in some cases, especially with 1/4-inch material. But this has reduced some of that redundant task and also standardized that those spacings a lot more. Perhaps more importantly, and this is one of the things that we are innovators at, and we'll walk around this way, is these are our brakes. So we've got 2 decoilers, 2 slicers, and 2 brakes. Those are the machines that ultimately make these things, which is the shutter housing. So these shutter housings go in our roll down screens, roll down bug screens, and we can custom make them to any length up to 32.5 feet, any dimension up to 20 inches, which is it's just a very large box. We got creative, so we do things in order to save inventory so that I don't have to stock all the colors all the time. We do things like this. So I'll do bronze on the inside, beige on the outside. Or if I just flip that roll the other way around, it can be the reverse. And so that saves us on inventory, and it also provides a protective paint coating on the inside. So follow me around this way. Be careful on this corner. So these are their workstations. Same thing, back to the quality checks. Let me see if my iPad is off, but the iPads will have all their work instructions on them. And so the foreman that sits in the corner will send the work instructions to say, this is what I need you to do. If it's something that's new, they'll actually come to these computers and they'll design a new housing unit. Let's say it's this is a custom fit for a soffit, or it'll be a different kind of end cap or a different kind of system, or something that is kind of old that isn't made anymore. As long as we get that sample here, we can design it, we can cut it, and then we can long fold it. So these things are really important. This is also not only a very long machine, a very expensive machine, but it's also a very safe machine. And so what we have here, these are actually lasers. And if you break the plane of this laser while the machine is in operation, it'll stop. And so this is something that machine over there that's from 2005 does not have. But it's also a key part of keeping my employees safe and keeping them happy. So we can walk through this way. Butt your head on that, Steve. I don't have to worry about it. So then this is our box assembly area. All of these jobs are ready to go. This is what a completed box will look like. So when we finish, some of these are going to have hurricane screens inside of them. Some of these will have bug screens inside of them. That's how they get built and ultimately assembled here. But what it is this is ready to go and be installed to be put on the wall and electrically connected. So your motor is actually already in here, right? Many times the bottom limits will already be set, and all that the installer really needs to do is put it up on a wall and you're good to go. This is that level of customer service that we do like to give to, especially our business-to-business customers, because we wanted them to not only be happy with the product, we want them to feel like it's so easy to install that it would be foolish not to work with us, right?
One of the things about the boxes the way we manufacture is there's two types of systems in the market today. One is an end cap system, the other one being a bracket system. We do both styles, but 9 times out of 10 we're going to do the housing with the end cap system, mainly because it protects the shutter completely. It's housed in its own case. With the bracket system, we're going to be mounting brackets on the wall, and the fabric or the shutters themselves are exposed. In the past, one instance I had was that we mounted the shutter up. The contractor decided to close up with his own cover, and when he did, he ran his screws up into the fabric. So when we rolled it down, the fabric came down with all these lines in it of rips where the screws were. So of course he said, "Well,
you got to replace it."
You did it. I said, "No." When I put the fabric in it with one piece, but it's just one more step to keep the product safe, keep it from getting damage, from any exposure. One thing you mentioned at one point is also if we're encasing something up in the soffit, is we'll modify the box and make it what's called a 6-sided box.
Like this one.
Where we cut the leg out, like he has here. That allows us to go up as close as we can to the trusses to make it as much out of view as possible. For whatever reason now, Florida contractors seem to be not allowing as much beam room where the soffit is. So we come across that a lot of being able, that gives us the ability to be able to pull the soffit down, bury it up into the soffit, then replace the soffit back into the house. Just one of the ways taking a better step towards manufacturing.
So we'll walk this way. All the material that you see here is material that we own. Most of it are our designs. Of course, there's also some squares and just normal tubing and stuff. But as you go through, you're going to see aluminum coming from all different parts of the world. Not only because we wanted to have a robust supply chain, COVID taught us that, but also because different parts of the world do different things well, right? A lot of the aluminum that you'll see here that's in the more basic shapes, I'm talking squares, angles, round profiles, those things we buy in the United States. They are very well at doing that. The machinery is a little bit on the older side in most of these places, but those are things that are used in many different American industries. But when it comes down to some specialized things like some of the slats that you'll see as we walk around, we find that we haven't been able to source those products as well domestically. And so we do continue to bring those products in internationally. You can tell from the packaging the different places that they come from. So these here are actually Ecuadorian. It's my home country. Now I'm an American since 2006, proudly, but this is where I was born. And so when we went there to try to find, take our products there, we actually ended up finding vendors that became very valuable vendors for us. So we're still working with Ecuador. We also work with Dominican Republic, Vietnam, Turkey, Germany, Spain. And more recently, there's a push over to Cambodia for a lot of different kinds of aluminum products, which is kind of interesting. So over here, you'll also see all the different things that we have in stock. As we said earlier, we are also a wholesaler. And so we have a lot of different products that we sell around the market. Even if you don't buy a product from us, you might open up that shutter and you'll see an AHT labeled motor inside. We'll sell around 11 to 15,000 motors in any given year. And we do also work with local companies. We work with companies like Maestro Shield, with companies like Croce, Rolling Shield. Those are our competitors, but we do like to consider it more like a cooperation kind of thing, right? It doesn't just have to be one winner. We can all win. The market is large enough for all of us, but more importantly, The industry needs all of us to be healthy. So every shutter component, every shutter job that we sell has 4 parts. So it's got the housing, which we saw, or the box. It's going to have the rolls or the screen. It's going to have the tracks, and it's going to have all the accessories. What are the accessories? The things that you need to connect it and ultimately operate. That'll be things like the slat hangers. What do those rolls of slats hang from? They hang from a slat hanger. You need a crank handle, the universals, the plug buttons, the remote controls, etc. And so all that goes in here. And the role of this gentleman is to collect all the different components that we might need, stick it in the box, make sure it goes out with that job. So it seems easy enough, but when you have so many different parts and you need a ladder to get to all the different areas, and it's not just here, it's actually 4 additional aisles, it can be a lot. Also, what's the difference between, you know, an M6 screw and an M12? Well, if you don't know, then you're going to provide somebody something like this when they needed something like this. So yeah, those are important. We're going to go up the stairs this way. So this is where we manufacture our hurricane screens. We start every screen with just a roll. Most of our rolls are actually domestic, either from Texas or Alabama. Those products will come in, and the first place that they'll go is over here for holding. You can walk this way and I'll show you. This is an Automatrix cutter. It's actually out of California. So what it'll do is after you extend the roll, see if they'll turn on those lights. Yeah. This CNC cutter will actually go through and actually cut the product to the right specifications, whatever size you need to cut it to. It'll then replace the cutter with a marker, and it'll write the name of the job in the top corner so that we can be sure exactly where it's going. This is a custom-made welder/sewing machine, an automated one, from Miller Weldmaster up in Ohio. And so what it'll do is it'll take our products, it'll pass them down this line, fold over, weld, and then ultimately down there it's going to sew them. So our product is one of the very few ones in the market that both weld and sew for that redundancy. We also have a larger welder, and so this is for bigger products, bigger projects. It's not in as much use as it used to be back when we used to do custom standard size things. But all of these other machines that you see around here, these are actually all sewing machines. These are custom tables that we made ourselves to keep the material actually tightened. And so this will move back and forth as the sewer is operating to make sure that you're not actually having to manually push the screen and ultimately create these imperfect lines. We'll attach this to those clips and pull it all the way down so that the operator doesn't have to do any other pushing. We've also made some custom machines, and so this is a 2-headed sewer, but the one that we've got over there is actually a 4-headed sewer. Our engineering requires 4 lines of sewing thread, and that allows us to do it in one pass as opposed to having to do it at one pass, flip it around, and do another pass. It's a unique thing, but it saves time, and we're still evaluating over time how much time that's going to save us if the ROI in a machine that's not twice as expensive, it's actually about 8 times as expensive, is actually worth it. They follow the same kind of processes as well. So they'll have their iPads, they have their computers, everything up here is digital as well. So they get their instructions from downstairs. That goes to the different stations. I think the iPads are charging right now, but they'll have their iPad that they will tell them what they need to do, size, dimension, colors, etc., and what stage it's in, perhaps more importantly. When they're done, the market is complete. Downstairs, they know it's ready. And so they'll send somebody upstairs to grab, wrap, and take it into the housing station if it needs to go in, or take it to the fulfillment area if it needs to go out. One thing you'll notice as well is we do have AC, so we've got an air conditioner for the different stations. So one of the cool things that we found about that is when we were doing the lean manufacturing training, and don't tell my employees this, but the importance of keeping people at their workstation, especially the critical path workstations. And so we found that our sewing stations up here is actually critical path. And so rather than punishing people when you're not at your station, you just make sure that it's extra comfortable, right? Better chairs, more comfortable chairs, air conditioning, good light. And so you want to be the place where you're more productive. And so that was one of the few things that we did. And just by doing that, we're actually able to produce an additional 1 to 2 screens on a daily basis versus how things used to be. So I think it worked.
Good idea.
Yeah. One more thing. You'll see these kinds of things everywhere. This is my dad's art projects. If anybody wants to buy one, let me know. We've got a lot of them sitting around. But yeah, we've got an eagle, a Christ the Redeemer. We've got a Venus de Milo. We've got, I think, a jet, a Statue of Liberty, a couple other cool ones. So, you know, Dad's been working on getting his artistic release out there, and we get to decorate our office with that. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, that's more or less the tour. Thank you guys for coming along.
Thanks for soaking up a little sunshine with Roxie and the Fort Myers Beach Chamber. If you loved today's local scoop, share this episode, leave a quick review, and follow for more island stories. And come join us every Friday at the Roxie in Times Square on beautiful Fort Myers Beach. Also, to nominate your favorite neighbors, local legends, heroes, or local businesses to be on the show, go to FMBGoodNeighbor.com. That's FMBGoodNeighbor.com. Or call 239-427-4100. Until next time, support local, be a good neighbor, and we'll see you at the beach.